Hi, friends. Doc South here, and I don't know. I got to thinking the other day. Come to realize that I have not really spoken much about my time living in the South. Right after a very rough divorce. I guess most divorces are. I moved from Pennsylvania uh, down to the Carolinas, and actually the city of Wilson, North Carolina. Wonderful people down there, and honestly, if you're down in the dumps, at least back then in the late '70s, early '80s, my advice would have been move to the Carolinas. Get yourself down there right now. Drop what you're doing. Take the first bus south. Amtrak goes down there. Walk if you gotta, because the Southerners were definitely, if you were down in the dumps, the Southerners had what you needed. and well, long story short, I found myself living down there in the city of Wilson, and I joined up. There was a group forming called Parents Without Partners. I don't know if they still are around or not. I would hope they are, because when you're recently divorced and you got kids and maybe you're not seeing them that often, the kids are kind of having a rough time. Your ex-spouse is having a rough time. Parents Without Partners ain't such a bad idea for both parties, for all concerned. And I used to go to their various get-togethers. They would have parties, maybe play a little music. Maybe there was a dance somewhere you'd go. I was never much of a dancer. Sometimes the girls might get me up on the floor, but frankly, it was an embarrassment to see me dance. But I loved the music. And there was one girl there named Barb. And Barb was a real sweetie. She divorced. I know she had a son, and I can't quite remember. She may have had a daughter also. It's almost 40 years ago now, so it's hard for me to remember. But I know I used to take her son to the stock car races in the ambulance. Yeah, when we'd go. And I remember one day I heard. Now Barb was let me just say, Barb was a fairly religious person. Never drank. Nope, never drank. I did. Maybe a little too much, but Barb never did. Decent person, a lot of fun. She loved dancing. Usually that left me out because, frankly, I just stumble over my own 2 feet. Just pathetic dancer. But still, I loved the music, as you might have guessed. And I remember I heard that over at the Raleigh Civic Center, I think at the State Fairgrounds, North Carolina State Fairgrounds, there was going to be a rock and roll show. And it featured Sam and Dave, already pretty good. Sam and Dave and Sha Na Na. And I called Barb up. We talked on the phone a lot, commiserating trying to solve each other's problems and all. And then just gibberish, like the Southerners are excellent for doing. Wonderful people, like I said. Well, anyway, so I'm talking along and I say, Barb, I'm thinking of going to a show. Have you ever been to a rock and roll show? And she says, well, no, I wouldn't go to a rock and roll show. That's sinful. I said, no, Barb, you got to trust me on this one. It's not sinful. It's good music. In fact, the two groups, they're both on the radio. Sha Na Na, okay, they sing all the old rock and roll songs from the 50s and stuff. She says, yeah. She says, I've heard of them. They're not too bad. I said, and then Sam and Dave, and they're this great blues group. Why don't you come with me? If you don't like it, we'll get up and we'll leave. Although I'll really hate leaving, but the tickets aren't that much. She says, I'll help you with paying some of the tickets. Nice girl. I said, okay, if you want, but what do you say? We'll go. She says, well, as long as you promise, if it gets to be too much, we leave. I said, okay. Well, I knew darn well that wasn't going to happen. I take her. We're riding along, up the highway there to Raleigh, and I said, Barb, these guys are fantastic. You've heard "Hold On, I'm Coming," Soul Man. She Shana Na, they do, gosh, Get a Job, all these wonderful songs. She says, well, she says, yeah, I think I've heard about them on TV and stuff. I said, well, they're on the radio, these guys. She says, oh, okay. Well, we get into the Civic Center, big stage. Yeah, it's like an indoor arena. And we're just sitting there, and all of a sudden, out come this group comes out. Must be about 20 people in the ensemble. It's Sam and Dave's backup band. It's his band. It's their band. And it's all these guys, man, they're dressed to the nines. I said, aren't they good dressers? She says, yeah, they're pretty snappy. I said, they all got big old saxophones and trombones, and there's a few guys with drums and guitarists, and just you name it. And the announcer comes out and said, ladies and gentlemen, he's already dancing around the stage, bopping back and forth. You can't even see his feet move. And pretty soon he said, with the band's playing, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Sam and Dave. And out they come, Sam and Dave, dressed in these gold suits. And they start singing, oh my God, Soul Man, and I take what I want, I thank you, oh my God. They're just going crazy. And then what do? They stop and they find some kids, and they get a bunch of kids and bring them up on stage, and they start singing, I don't know, You Don't Know Like I Know. But the kids are now dancing too. And the kids weren't too bad. The dancers showed them what to do. Yeah, they had some dancers to kind of, I guess they were the rhythm section, whatever. And they're belting it out. And I'm looking at Barb. I said, so what do you think? She says, whoa. Next thing I know, some guy with green hair comes over and taps her on the shoulder and says, ma'am, would you like to dance out in the aisle here? She says, I sure would. And next thing you know, she's out there on the steps dancing away. She said, you don't mind, do you, to me? I said, no, Barb, you go. I don't know how to dance. That fellow looks like he's a good dancer. He says, well, I am, sir. He says, and I do thank you. And pretty soon they're dancing around. Oh, my God. Yeah, he had like a green mohawk. Picturing Barb you'd have to know Barb to get this, but it was just amazing. Well, okay, the Sam and Dave go, and they were absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. Next thing I know, there's like a little bit of, I don't know, like an intermission. An intermission. And the guy with the green hair says, ma'am, I might see you later. I got to get back to my date. She don't like dancing that much. And Barb said, okay, I want to talk to the fellow I came with, and we're yakking. I said, so what'd you think? She says, oh, that was good. She says, that was really fun. Those guys were great. There's nothing sinful about it. No, I said, I'm telling you, it's Sam and Dave. I think they started out doing gospel even. I think they might have. They probably did as kids. I'm sure they're good guys. She says, yeah, whoa. Okay, well, next thing you know, this whole stadium goes dark, and you're looking down at the stage, knowing something's up. It's Shana Na's next. And all of a sudden, there's this spotlight appears on the stage, one spotlight, and who comes walking out into it? Bowser. And the crowd goes nuts. You know, hey, yo, what you all doing? Like he would do. And he says, well, let me comb my hair a minute. And he combs his hair, and he has all this grease on his comb, and he flicks it into the crowd. And you hear people going, oh, well, what, hey. And you know how Bowser got that stuff he do with his arm. And they're going they're going absolutely crazy with just the spotlight. And Bowser says, okay, hey, I want you all to shut up now. I'm going to sing. And he goes, Bob, Bob, Bob. And with that, he gets about 3 notes of a really deep bass note. And bang, all the lights come on, and there's all of Shana Na in their gold lame suits, the singers, the various players, the sax players, and they just start ripping, and they wouldn't stop for at least an hour. By the time they're done, you didn't know what you were going to do. It was just so cool. And they sang them all. Oh, God, they had one fella sound like Johnny Mathis. He's there in a gold lame suit, belting it out. You know, chances are, one of those songs. There's Lenny, the sensuous king of rock and roll, big heavy guy. He's singing something, I don't know what, I can't remember now, but they were amazing. Long story short, the show eventually ended with a grand finale. I think Sam and Dave may have been out part of it in it. I don't know. I don't remember. I was ready to black out. It was such a good show. And the show ends and we're all filing out. Barb said, God, she says, that was the greatest time. She says, I'm so glad I listened to you. Man, she says, that was cool. All the way home, couldn't stop talking about it. She was just having herself a time. I said, well, if I see another one, you want to? Yeah, she says, yeah, let's. And it was great. Dropped her off and went home. But we had, the next Parents Without Partners meeting, oh my God. Hey, we should all go to rock and roll. Yeah, it was, I created a Frankenstein. But again, a wonderful person. I think eventually she did meet a fella, and they tied the knot, and I'm hoping they lived happily ever after. I certainly hope so. Good person, nice people, those Carolinians, and Shanana and Sam and Dave. Man, they went to the right place, that Raleigh Civic Center. That's all I can say. They're you just can't imagine picturing something like 10,000 Tar Heels doing the boogie. Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. God bless. Bye now. You know what? Barb was a very religious girl. We'll make this an extra long Lord's Prayer moment. Our Father who art in heaven, she'll like this. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory forever. So be it. And I don't know, God was probably there. Yeah, at the Civic Center, I'm sure he came. Oh my God, Sam and Dave and Sean and I'm going to the concert. Gabriel, come on, let's pack a lunch. We're going. I thought I saw him in the back there, just kind of dancing around. Well, he had the halo, Anyway, I'll see you later, friends. Thank you, and God bless.